Welcome to Sweeter Than Honey. Today's daily devotion is from Genesis chapter 10. Here in Genesis chapter 10, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in this chapter. It is a reciting of the descendants of the nations, a table of nations from Noah for the succeeding generations that follow him. And so I'll read to you verse 1. These are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. And then in verse 2, he begins with Japheth. He doesn't spend much time with Japheth. Verse 6, he begins with Ham, and Ham's descendants are from verse 6 to verse 20, and then verse 21 on to the end of the chapter deals with the heritage of Shem, the father of those generations that would bring us to the man that we will eventually understand to be Abraham. Just a few thoughts on the text, this Table of Nations chapter. Everything and everyone tracks their line back through Noah. As Adrian Rogers, Southern Baptist preacher, once said, everyone has in their family background a drunken sailor and a crooked farmer. Well, there's Noah and Adam, and we all claim them. Noah had those three sons. There is a special problem with Ham. God blessed all the sons, however, with many offspring, and this was so that the earth would be repopulated. Since the text seems to highlight certain important characters, it seems possible, if not probable, that not every offspring is mentioned. It was not necessarily trying to track every person that's ever been born during this lineage, but hit some of the highlights. And so if there is the possibility that there are gaps in the generations, that has nothing to do, does not in any way mean that the Bible has made mistakes. It just wasn't its intent to do that. He does mention a person by the name of Nimrod. And this person, as you read the chapter, Nimrod's activity is going to prove to be important for later generations of Israel as they come into relationships with the Assyrians. So keep that in mind. Canaan produced many of the people groups that opposed Israel, and they settled in the Promised Land. And so Canaan, and you see his offspring being mentioned beginning in verse 15. Canaan, as they go into the Promised Land, what would be the Promised Land? They have to be ousted by Israel after the years of slavery in Egypt. Then the genealogical focus after this point will shift and tighten its focus into Shem and his descendants, and we call it the Semitic lines. And that focus will really be the main narrative of the redemptive story of God's efforts to redeem not only the Jewish people, but all people. And we will get to that in a few, about 2 times from now. We will come to Genesis chapter 12, and we will see God's intervention into man's condition and what he plans to do. So not as much to talk about in these genealogical chapters, but I hope that you enjoyed the chapter, and may God bless you through the day. May he bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace. Amen.